Over the years, hundreds of people have asked me for the secret to becoming a safe and responsible firearms owner. The answer is very simple. The secret is consistent, deliberate practice over an extended period of time. This practice is called dry fire training or dry weapons handling. Why is dry fire important? Dry weapons handling allows you to practice with your firearm while lowering the risks associated with this practice. Do you remember when you were learning how to drive? You were probably 15, 16 years old. Your parents probably brought you to an empty parking lot where you could practice the fundamentals of safe driving without the stress and risk of driving on the open road. This exact same principle applies to training with a firearm. Would you agree that firearms can be extremely dangerous if you use it in an improper way? Of course! And that is why dry weapons handling is so critical to your development. It allows you to master the fundamentals in a controlled environment with reduced stress and reduced risk. Only after you master those fundamentals should you begin training with a live firearm. Dry weapons handling prevents you from creating training scars. Most shooters, they buy a gun, they walk into a gun range, and they begin shooting with little to no training. Because these shooters lack understanding of proper shooting fundamentals, they are developing very bad habits. Unfortunately, once these habits are created, it becomes extremely difficult to correct. Dry weapons handling allows you to avoid this common mistake by developing your habits the right way the first time. If you utilize this training properly, you will watch me perform a task. Then your goal will be to execute the same task perfectly over and over. As you are practicing, it's important for you to rewatch a section about the skill you are developing so that you can be sure you are executing the task perfectly. Dry weapons handling is much cheaper than live fire training. Let's pretend that you want to work on mastering a smooth and consistent trigger press. You could go to the range and fire thousands of rounds of ammunition, which is going to cost you hundreds of dollars, or you could perform the trigger press drill 1,000 times with an unloaded firearm. This will give you the same number of positive repetitions while saving you a lot of money. How to maximize this training? To maximize your training, we are going to implement the following 6 principles. First is the 80-20 principle. You've probably heard of the 80-20 principle, which states that 80% of the result you desire will come from 20% of your training. However, for this principle to be true, you must be training effectively. The firearm community is filled with thousands of different dry weapons handling drills. But in this training, we are only going to focus on the drills that are going to give you the greatest result as you prepare to become a safe and responsible firearms owner. Next, you need to deconstruct the skill. Just imagine, would your training be effective if I said, okay guys, I'm going to show you how to safety check your firearm and this is what it looks like. Even though this drill was executed properly and you guys could probably figure out how to replicate it, to maximize your training, you will start by identifying and mastering each step in the drill. Only then can you begin to smooth out each step into one fluid movement. Third, eliminate the barriers to success. The biggest barrier to success for most people is motivation. Most people say that they're gonna train with their firearms, but they never get started and are not motivated enough. I have a solution to help you solve this problem. I created a private members-only Facebook group called the Beginner's Guide Dry Fire Challenge, where you can ask questions, post videos, and interact with other students. The primary goal of this group is for you to post daily videos of your dry weapons handling, holding you accountable and allowing our instructors to help you create proper training neural pathways. We can watch what you are doing and provide instant feedback to ensure that you are demonstrating each skill perfectly and avoid creating training scars. Another barrier to success is imperfect practice. It is not possible for me or any other instructor to watch and critique every student's dry fire training. This is why it is so important for you to watch and rewatch each section of the Beginner's Guide to Firearms course. Over the years, I have noticed two types of people who attend this course. The first person will watch the videos once and assume they have retained all of the information. However, studies show that the average person will retain 20 to 30% of what they see. The second type of person watches these videos multiple times while practicing at home. These individuals retain over 90% of the information because they are performing the task perfectly each and every time. Not enough time. Personally, I think this is an excuse. During this training, I am only asking you to train for 5 to 10 minutes each day. If you can't fit that into your routine, you have some major problems in your life. I train while I'm in my truck. I train at home when my family has gone to sleep, and I even train while sitting at my desk. You can always make time for something that's important to you. Number 4 is deliberate focus practice. The Pomodoro technique was developed in the late 1980s by Francisco Cicero as a time management technique. This technique requires the user to demonstrate highly focused and concentrated work for 20 to 25 minutes, followed by a short break. Notice how I say highly focused? This means you should set aside a specific time to train every day and remove all distractions. The original Pomodoro technique calls for 20 to 25 minutes of highly focused work. I'm only asking for a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes each day. However, if you truly want to become a safe and responsible firearms owner as fast as possible, then you should dedicate more time each day. Number 5 is immersion. Dictionary.com defines immersion as deep mental involvement. Personally, I would change this definition to read deep mental and physical involvement. Studies show that you will retain 10% of what you read, 20% from audio or video, 50% from demonstration, 70% while practicing, and 90% while using. If you choose to simply watch these videos, you are wasting your time and your money. To get the most out of your investment, you will need to dive deep and immerse yourself. You see what I did there? Watch a section, practice, and document your training inside of the workbook. Number 6, be persistent. Unfortunately, becoming a safe, responsible firearms owner is not an overnight process. It will take you months of consistent, deliberate practice. Most people quit before they reach their major breakthrough. But you're not most people, are you? You must be persistent. You must train consistently. Never give up. Success is on the other side of the mountain.